Welcome to the March Board of Education meeting. Mrs. McKay was unable to attend tonight. At this time, I would like to have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Perfect timing, Dr. Benson.
We're not pledging to you, so.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Lavelle, can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Castelli,
Here.
Mrs. Corso,
Here.
Ms. Levesque, Mrs. McKay, Mrs. Purcell, Mr. Reynolds,
Here.
Mrs. Raccio,
Here.
Mr. Ross,
Here.
Mr. Votto.
Here.
6 members present and voting.
Okay, at this time, we will hear from student board representatives. And from Lyman Hall, we have Audrey Larson. Is she here? Yeah. Just step to the microphone, please.
Introduce yourself.
My name's Elena Fenner. I'll be speaking on behalf of Lyman
Okay.
Hall tonight. Sorry.
Elena?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
You're on.
Okay. So first of all, this month we have a student-made film called The Angst Movie that is being shown on Wednesday, March 20th. In guidance, the AP registration at Lyman Hall will end on March 22nd, and AP exams will take place on May 6th to May 17th. For the music department, the Lyman Hall production is in the middle of its rehearsal for Peter Pan to be presented to the school on May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Piper Burney has the lead role as Peter, and there are 43 additional cast members, including musicians, set, and crew members. There are close to 100 students and adults working on the production. Lyman Hall music students Antonio Collins Evans and Jamie Boyce will be attending the New England Music Festival at Woodstock Academy on Thursday, March 21st to Saturday, March 23rd. Auditions were held in the fall, and musicians from all over New England will be participating. This year's international celebration will be hosted at Lyman Hall on Tuesday, April 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30 in the gym. Students and families will be sharing information and food from their native countries and celebrating diversity. This year's theme is Inventions Around the World, and there will be information presented about famous inventors and inventions. There will also be performances by a mariachi group and a Polynesian dance troupe. Lyman Hall Unified Sports Fundraiser. The Penguin Plunge was a huge success. Miss DiPaola, Mr. Scalise, Miss Charbonneau, Miss Arardi, Miss Pace, and hopefully many other students will be plunging on April 6th in Fairfield. The Lyman Hall Unified Basketball Banquet is March 21st at the Greek Guy to celebrate the season. March is also Best Buddies Awareness Month. The chapter has organized one activity each week for the students to participate in. Activities have included Purple Day, signing the pledge for inclusion, Twin Day, and the month will end having a photo booth. Also in sports, Lyman Hall's hockey team won states.
Very good. Thank you. Is the representative from Sheen here? I know somebody is filling in for someone else. Raina? No? I didn't think I saw. All right. If anybody sees her come in, let me know. All right, let's go on to presentation and awards. This is for the STEM logo contest. Dr.
Yes,
Menza, maybe you want to give a
at this
little
time,
background?
sure. I'm going to have Ms. O'Donnell join us also before we introduce the students. But as we all know, Wallingford last May 31st announced that with a proclamation from the mayor that we were a STEM town. And as part of that, we felt it was really important for us to be able to share the information and get a marketing campaign going. So Ms. O'Donnell was able to pull together an activity as part of the communications group, a subcommittee of our STEM Town Steering Committee, put together a group who was going to work to set up a competition to create a logo that was unique to Wallingford. So she put out a call to students and art teachers, and we're here tonight to share with you the winner and then the runner-up. I also would like to recognize that in the audience we have Mr. Snyder, and we also have Ms. Gilbert, who is one of the art teachers at DAG, who I believe it's most likely one of her students. And I want to thank them both for being here to support this, because without the support of teachers and administrators and activities like this, we would not be able to get the quality of work that we did. We were fortunate that the artwork that was selected was then taken by graphic designers at Quinnipiac University, students, and pulled it together in a way that we can now take the beautiful work that was rendered and utilize it as our logo moving forward. So Ms. O'Donnell is here. She's our science coordinator, science and technology coordinator, and she's here to help present the 2 awards to our students. I also just want to make note, I think our Sheen representative came. So we're going to we'll do the awards and then we'll go back to Sheen, if that's okay?
All right, can we have the principal and teacher stand up with you?
Yeah, I would love to have.
I do believe they said you.
I think he said. So we have Ms. Gilbert and Mr. Snyder and Ms. O'Donnell. Yeah, totally easy. And tonight we want to make why don't we come over here so we can make sure we get this.
The winner of our STEM logo contest for the Wallingford STEM Town Committee is Cecilia Tran. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And the runner-up, why don't you come on over here?
And the runner-up for our STEM logo contest is Jordan Larson.
Again, we just wanted to congratulate both of you on your hard work and your willingness to take a chance and submit to a contest. And we thank you for that. We thank your parents for coming out and your families for supporting you. And we look forward to other competitions coming forward, potentially around the same area. So thank you again for everything.
And congratulations from the board. If any board
Yes.
members would like to say anything? Okay.
Well, I wanted to, when are we going to see the logo?
Yes, yes.
You can currently see the logo on the Wallingford STEM Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or website.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be using more messaging opportunities. We'll be done with that as well. So, and thank you again for your support. We appreciate it. So congratulations.
Thank you all. And now we have our Sheehan representative, Raina.
Yes,
Hi there.
I'm here on behalf of Marissa Galicia. She couldn't be here tonight. She's
Okay.
at her lacrosse tryouts today.
That's important.
Yes. So I'm just going to read what she wrote
That's
on
fine.
her behalf. All right. So Sheehan has been very busy this past month in sports. All of the Titan winter teams qualified for postseason playoffs, and we had many winter highlights, including our hockey team, who won their conference tournament and made it to the state championship, where they lost to Lyman Hall, Haddam Killingworth Coggins Co-op in front of a sold-out crowd at Yale, and then congrats to the Trojans on their state championship. Also, our girls basketball team made a run to Mohegan Sun and played in the championship yesterday. It was an amazing atmosphere, and we had an incredible comeback, but just fell short, and we lost to Cromwell in the final. Also, our swim and dive team won the SEC regular season title for the second year in a row, and we had multiple swimmers and divers compete in the CIAC Open Championships, which was highlighted by Andrew Bueller, SEC Player of the Year, and second place at the State Dive Open. Coach Keith Cargan was named SEC Coach of the Year for swimming. Mike Busillo, girls basketball coach, was also named New Haven Tap-Off Club Coach of the Year and will be honored at a banquet next week. Winter seasons have officially concluded, and all of the winter teams will be having their banquets within the next couple of weeks. Believe it or not, spring sports opening day was this past Saturday, and scrimmages begin this week with regular season contests beginning as early as March 30th. Besides sports, on February 24th, the junior advisors and senior and sophomore advisors came together in a competition to see who could build the tallest spaghetti tower, which was a lot of fun and helped us solve problems with relationships between different grades. Our military fair, where students learned about different branches of the military, took place on March 6th during lunch waves. Also on March 6th, our freshmen finished picking up classes for their sophomore year. On March 8th, Sheehan held its spring blood drive, which was a birthday theme to remind you that each donation you give allows 3 more people another birthday. The musical Cinderella was directed by Miss Sperry and took place on March 7th to March 9th. This show was wonderful and had an amazing turnout each night. Last Friday, the sophomore class held a fundraiser at Moe's to raise money for their junior prom. Coming up soon, on March 22nd, Sheehan will be holding March Madness 3 versus 3 tournaments. Our spring dance this year is going to take place on April 4th. And on Friday, April 5th, Sheehan Art Show is going to take place in Senior Court.
Wow. Thank you very
All the
much.
updates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Job well done. Okay, at this time is our question and answer period. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for the board? None? All right, seeing that there are no questions, we are now going to go into an executive session. And if, at this time, if you feel free to leave if you like to, or you can stay for the rest of our board meeting. Do I have a motion? Am I doing?
Yes. I make a motion, we go into executive session for the purpose of discussion of acceptance of retirements, E1, E2, discussion acceptance of resignations, and E3, discussion of leaves of absence.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We are now in executive session.
Executive session.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. We are now in regular session. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.13.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. There are no items that were removed from the agenda, consent agenda. Correspondence?
Yes, we would like to thank, actually, we have 3 donations. We'd like to thank Chihuahua of Vertex Pharmaceuticals for the donation of a variety of lab equipment in the amount of $1,300 to the Wallingford School District. We also received 2 donations from Michael Andrews of Toyota Presents the Oakdale Theater. The first one was a donation of 500 tickets to the Capella show at the Toyota Oakdale Theater, valued at $7,500, and this is to the families and students in grades 3 through 5. There was also another donation in the from the same organization in the amount of 400 tickets to the Cinderella show, valued at $6,000. And once again, it was to the families and students in grades 3 through 5.
Great. We had another note. Did you say that?
I couldn't read, maybe,
Thank you.
thank you note?
Yeah.
My copy, I couldn't make it out. I was actually gonna ask Sal if he knew anything about it.
Sarah and Kate.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, this was the unfortunate passing of one of our secretaries at DAG. Her husband had passed away, and this was a thank you note from them.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda are the committee reports. ACE's representative?
Hi, I'm covering for Karen. I did not attend the meeting. She attended the meeting but couldn't be here tonight, so I'm basically going to read her notes. The ACES Governing Board met on March 14th, 2019. The minutes of the February 2019 meeting were approved. Under the Executive Director's report, Right at School, a before and after school program at Wintergreen Magnet School is being proposed to start in September of 2019. The proposed lease of the Gateway College property in North Haven for the Wintergreen Magnet School will be voted on by the Gateway Board on March 28th, 2019. The 16th annual ACES Foundation Gala will take place on March 28th with a fundraising goal of $100,000 this year. The Governing Board approved the Early Head Start monthly reports and the Human Resources report. The Governing Board also approved the filing of the fiscal report subject to audit. As of March 1st, the projected surplus is $94,000. ACES is transitioning to KeyBank for banking needs. Under new business, the Governing Board approved the Right at School program and the following budgets: transportation, assistive, technology, curriculum, Whitney East and West, Whitney North, EIBI, village, sales, and technology. An item was added to the agenda to request a non-precedent-setting one-time voluntary donation of sick days to an employee with a major illness through June 30th, 2019. The governing board approved this request. Under old business, the governing board approved policy 5144.1, restraints and seclusions. The board approved for a second read policy 5950/4950, parent choice lottery preferences. Mr. William Rice, the Assistant Executive Director, updated the board on curriculum and instruction issues. The Edison Magnet School received a Lead the Way recognition award. The Mill Road Academy got a shout out from Parents Magazine about their kindness program. The Mead School in Ansonia has 3 full-time students. Shipman and Goodwin presented a seclusion and restraint in service. Testimony was provided on HB 7214, seclusion and restraint, and HB 7209, magnet school funding. The next ACES governing board meeting is scheduled for April 11th, 2019, and there are 71 Wallingford students attending ACES programs. If you have any questions, see Karen.
If I could just add to that report, I just want to clarify because I think there was a recent, recently I've been approached by several people about a misunderstanding about magnet schools and our responsibility to them. Regardless if Wallingford Public Schools were a partner district or not, under Sheff versus O'Neill, we would still have to provide opportunities for students to go to magnet schools as a choice program. So the thing is, while sometimes people say we're spending a lot of money on magnet schools and we can create programs within our own schools to meet the needs of those students, parents still have a choice. That was the law that was passed under the Sheff versus O'Neill. It was a way to mitigate the segregation that was occurring in urban settings. So the fact is that we need to be conscious of that. We have reduced, obviously, our quantity of students going to magnet schools, and we only are able to reduce that based on the fact that our enrollment in those districts or those schools has dropped significantly. So students are choosing not to attend those schools as frequently as they were 10 years ago when we had 60 students going to WIMS, and next year we're slated to only have 25 to 28 students going to WIMS. So we've dropped that significantly. And we've talked many, many times at the board level as to why that's been reduced, and because our programming has shifted. We have world language at the elementary school, which they used to have, we now have, and we've had for several years. We have full day kindergarten, which they have. Our day is similar length as their day. Our school year is actually longer than their school year. So we have a variety of things that we've shifted. So I just want to clarify that because I think there's still maybe some confusion in the community as to our responsibilities. Also, some of our magnet school costs go to students with special needs. Students with special needs under the IEP process are entitled to have opportunities at magnet schools based on what's going to be the least restrictive environment and what meets their needs to the extent that is best appropriate for that individual student. So those are some students that we do have in other magnet schools. There are 2 types of magnet schools also. There are host magnet schools, and then there are your traditional magnet schools, which are the fee-based magnet schools. Our host magnet schools are the students in New Haven, which we do not pay any tuition to, and we do not pay any transportation costs. They're still under the umbrella, again, of Sheff versus O'Neill because New Haven had been given money to develop and reestablish a lot of its schools and renovate a lot of its schools. So again, just wanted to clarify that because I think there's still some confusion as to our budget and why do we have so many students, and if we just created all the programs and put them into our schools that we wouldn't have to offer choice, but we do. There's parental choice as the ACES board, and that's what just jogged my memory. ACES board voted to accept parental choice, so that cannot go away, and we would still be responsible for the tuition of those students because ACES is not a host magnet school. It is a for-pay magnet school, the Wintergreen Magnet. So we do get reimbursement for our transportation. I know there's been discussion on the part of some districts that they might be only going to a choice magnet approach with with Wintergreen. And so the thing is that based on the quantity of students traveling to the school, you'd have to determine whether or not it's a significant cost to the district. I know some districts in the ACES consortium have a tremendous amount of students going, so their transportation costs would be reduced because the state would have to take on those costs. In our case, we have very limited amount of transportation going to Wintergreen and to Thames, and we get state reimbursement. But we are crunching those numbers to determine whether or not there's an opportunity there if we chose to do a similar thing. But we did reduce our number of students who will be admitted to Wintergreen based on our 3-year average, and we've been doing that the last 2 years. So again, I appreciate the opportunity. Just for clarification, I know a lot of people watch us on TV, and we're fortunate that we have a great relationship with our magnet schools. And, you know, again, it's an opportunity that was afforded under state statute, which we can't violate.
So again, just to reiterate, we don't pay any tuition or transportation costs to the host magnet schools.
Correct. The New Haven host magnet schools, we do not pay any transportation or tuition costs at this time. That could change. There have been articles in the newspaper over the last couple of years. I think there was one or 2 years ago where they listed what districts would owe New Haven Public Schools. That has not shifted. During my time in Marlborough as superintendent, Hartford went from a host magnet school to a charge magnet school, and that was a challenge for a lot of districts, even small little Marlborough. We had parents who chose to have their students go to Hartford schools, the magnet schools, because they worked in Hartford, so it was obviously more convenient to have their child there so they could bring them to school. The hours were longer, and the day was longer, so they could do that, and then the district was responsible for the bill. At that point. But at this point, New Haven is still a host setup.
I just want to have a question too on what you read in the beginning. Did you say the Gateway Board is going to decide if they want to rent the school?
No,
or did the ACES governing board going to?
It says the proposed lease of the Gateway College property in North Haven for the Wintergreen Magnet School will be voted on by the Gateway Board.
Oh.
Yeah.
So whether they want to rent it or whether they want to rent it to ACES, it doesn't say that, does it?
Like I said earlier.
Okay,
I
no,
believe any
just-
questions, ask Karen.
I believe that has, I think we'll be getting an official communication on that shortly. But I think they are closer to finalizing an agreement with that situation.
Often big school.
So,
Well, I don't think they get the whole thing. I mean.
no, I think it's a
not the
portion
whole-
of the
right, it's a
building.
portion of the building.
Portion of the building. So.
All right, thank you for that report. Wintergreen Magnet School?
So last month's meeting was canceled. This month's is next Wednesday.
Okay. School to career representative.
I'm going to report on that. We had a business think tank meeting just recently, last week, and at which time we focused on our manufacturers, and we met with them. It was a phenomenally well-attended meeting, and that goal of that meeting was to get our manufacturers to sign up to be pre-apprenticeship program facilitators. So we are following up with each of them. We had a great turnout. I think we are probably situated to have between 7 and 8 pre-apprenticeship programs in the district based on that 3-semester pipeline, which is really one of a kind at this point. So we had previously met with all of the medical groups, and we got a great response from them as well. So Rob Covey is doing a phenomenal job. He's really making this move forward. But I also want to thank for this meeting and the other one, Joe Mara, for his support through EDC.
Can I ask, minutes are obviously taken at these
Yep.
meetings.
Yeah.
Can they be provided to the board?
Sure, I could have Rob pass those along.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
No worries.
So I just have a comment to make, because I typically go to that meeting, but I missed this one, and I have to explain why. I'm retired, and Fridays are normally my day that I have nothing on my agenda. And when my reminder went off 15 minutes before the meeting, I was still in my pajamas.
It was absolutely fine. No worries. It's all good.
PTAC update.
We did not have a February meeting. We have one tomorrow night.
Okay. Plan of conservation development.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a meeting a couple of weeks ago, but it has to be rescheduled.
Okay.
Hopefully, I think we're shooting for next month.
Next month. Okay.
Next month, April.
April. Food Services Strategic Plan Committee.
We met on February 27th as a group. We discussed the elementary junior chefs and where we were at that time and the agenda and how the day was going to go. And then we did an update on piloting the 2 elementary breakfast programs. And our next meeting is actually tomorrow on the 19th.
Okay. Thank you. Stage lighting and renovation project. and the Forest School window, want to put them together?
Yes, please. Okay. So the stage lighting and renovation project, we're finally moving to close that out. Hopefully it'll happen this month. If not, next month. That'll be a done deal and off our plates. And the Forest School window project, we're in the process of setting up meetings with admin at the 2 schools that we'll be working at, just to make sure they fully understand the process and what's going to happen in their buildings. Lyman Hall will be closed to all use with the exception of VOAG. And also the same thing will happen basically at Rock Hill. And we will accommodate them when they bring their students back. But other than that, those 2 schools will be closed.
Was it Rock Hill or Highland?
Highland, I'm sorry.
Highlands.
What did I say?
I think you said Rock Hill. So Highlands and and I only know this because he just
Yes.
schooled me on this last week. So
Should
I
it be
got you,
done by
buddy.
the end
Don't
of the
worry.
summer?
I apologize.
Mark, should it be done by the end of the summer?
That's the intent. I'm sure that we'll have some trim things that go on into the school year, but the intent is to get it all done. We're very sure on the construction at Lyman Hall and Highland also. Everything is very obvious. The Parker Farms project, we ran into all kinds of things that weren't shown on the blueprints, which was a problem. You know, when the window guys took windows out and had the sill plates drop, because the windows were indeed holding up the sill plates. There was no knee walls or anything, even though they were shown on the plans. That was an extra that affected 90 different areas of the building. So you can imagine that was pretty disturbing to me.
Your facilities building, it's pretty big, correct?
It is.
Can you fit Highland School in there?
And nowhere near.
Okay, no, I thought,
And to Mark's credit, his team, they were wise in doing some testing at Highland this past summer. That's why you'll note that Highland had some windows that were replaced, but not the whole thing, because they wanted to assess to make sure that they knew what was there, so they didn't have an issue this summer. So again, Mark, and better than anyone, knowing that he needed to do that, made sure that that occurred so we could be smoother in terms of the summer.
I have a question. Anybody else have a question? Mark, the windows at Highland, if I remember correctly from the renovation project, the part of the classroom that kind of juts out. All right, that's always been a problem with water. Is it the overhang or is it just the windows?
It may have been the overhang prior to the roofing project, but the windows are old, single pane, steel frames. Everything about them is problematic. We haven't been able to maintain them or do any work to make them better. We were replacing some window walls at one time, but to do individual projects, that really became impossible with the EPA requirements as far as PCBs and asbestos. Because technically, every time we touch one, we should be doing that testing. So that's something we started to avoid. You know, obviously, if a window breaks, we're going to replace it, but we're going to disturb as little as possible. But that's the kind of thing we're running into.
They're all going to be replaced then?
There's 2, I think, that were replaced prior to this project. Those are new thermal pane windows, and we won't touch those.
But the rest?
But all the rest of them are going to be replaced. And the bathroom windows also, if you've ever been in the bathrooms, you can see problems with those windows.
Okay.
I'd like to just comment to Mark and thank him for a problem that they had over at DAG earlier in the month, and his men saw it, recognized it, and fixed it within a day, and it was a major leak, and they found it, and it was damaging the building, and he was over there, and he's got his men right on top of it. Parents were very happy to see that, and I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Next, we have old business, which I don't believe we have any, and number 12, instructional committee. Mrs. Corso.
That's me. I'm going to make some motions. I'm going to make a motion that the Board of Ed accept with regret the retirement of Karen Galuzzo, effective April 1st, 2019. Karen has been a special ed teacher since September of 1986. A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Next, I make a motion that the Board of Education accept with regret the resignation of Nathan Wynn Stanley, effective March 29th, 2019. Nathan has been a special education teacher since February 12th, 2018. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Next, I make a motion that the Board of Education accept with regret the resignation of Laura Klimaszewski effective April 2nd, 2019. Laura has been the PPS Services Director since August 25th, 2017. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Lastly, I make a motion that the Board of Education accept with regret the resignation of Mary Poison, effective July 1, 2019. Mary has been the principal of Mary G. Fritz Elementary School since July 1, 2016. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Raccio?
As a parent of Fritz School, I have watched Mary develop a culture of trust, collaboration, and engagement for a diverse school of students, families, and teachers over the past 3 years. She has the ability to make students feel safe, bring their concerns to her, and yet balances those concerns by empowering students to resolve these issues independently. She always approaches challenges enthusiastically and always focuses on students. This will be a loss for all of Wallingford Public Schools.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Dr. Benzo?
I would just like to say, as the board knows, Mary is going on to a position in curriculum and instruction at Glastonbury. Mary, many of the people might not know in the public, Mary came from Glastonbury as an assistant principal. She came here and wanted to hone her skills at the building level, which she definitely did. But now she's going back to, I believe, and I think I could speak for her, her true love, which is curriculum and instruction in the area of English language arts at the elementary level. So she'll be director of that particular area, K-5, just English and language arts, which really speaks to her past experience and her desire to go back to that and also go back to a district that's familiar to her in Glastonbury. At the time of Mary coming here, there was potential concern about her position being removed because of budgetary reasons in Glastonbury. So we were fortunate to have her for the period of time that we did. But at this point, I totally understand that this is an opportunity for her to be somewhat I shouldn't say somewhat, in a leadership role for curriculum and instruction in the area of English language arts at the K-5 level, and working directly with central office. So it's a great advancement for her, and we really truly are thankful for her time with us, but certainly are pleased and proud of her next step that she's taken in this higher leadership role.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. I'm all set with instructional committee.
Thank you. Number 13, Operations Committee. Karen's not here.
The Operations Committee meeting took place on March 11th, 2019. The meeting minutes from the January 23rd, 2019, February 6th, 2019, and February 11th, 2019 meetings were approved. The school facilities update presentation was removed from the agenda and postponed to a later date. The reason for the removal was to provide an opportunity for parents with students participating in the state semifinals in both hockey and basketball on March 11th to have a chance to comment on the facilities update presentation. The Board of Education financial report for February 2019 and the cafeteria financial reports, items B1 and B3 through B6 for February 2019 were reviewed in committee and accepted under the consent agenda this evening. The financial forecast through February 2019 was reviewed with a projected unencumbered balance of $808,739. Noted, proposed budget transfers to reclassify estimated wages from line item 100B, contingency to payroll accounts, items 112Y, custodians and maintenance, 112F, secretaries, 112K, IT, 112A, educators, and 112C, managers, totaling $201,543 were discussed and a consensus taken. Also, a proposed budget transfer in the amount of $48,000 to line item 430A, alarms, from line item 100B, contingency for replacement of the Sheehan High School Fire Alarm Panel was discussed and a consensus taken. The cafeteria financial reports for February 2019 were reviewed. The food services year-to-date comparison sheet noted a profit of $14,386. The year-to-date deficit is $41,789. A concerted effort continues to control costs. There has been an increase in meals served at all levels. Service cost guidelines B12 were discussed, and an additional written information was requested and will be provided to Board of Education members on the topic. And I'm sorry, that was Service Cost Guidelines B2. Mr. DePula provided the maintenance facilities update. He noticed that the E.C. Stevens Elementary School major classrooms project has begun.
Okay, thank you. 13.2,
I-
approval to implement the 2019-20 healthy food certification.
Okay. I make a motion to approve consideration 1 as stated below. Consideration 1, healthy food option pursuant to the CGS Section 10-215F. The Board of Education or governing authority certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutritional standards during the period of July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or by non-school organization and groups.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion. Do we need to have this explained? Pretty much.
This is our annual motion that we make in order to be in compliance with the state statute.
I assume there's no changes from last year?
There are no
'Cause-
changes. This is actually verbatim from last year.
Okay, thanks.
Copied and pasted.
We no longer have to do the healthy grain waiver, or do we have one more to do? I know it was repealed.
I think it was repealed, and I don't believe we have to submit it, but we actually just had a discussion about this, so we're getting clarification on that.
Okay.
Because we literally just had this discussion last week on Wednesday. And then yeah, they have to see what's going on, because it got repealed, but I don't know if we have to file, so that's what we're waiting to hear from the state. So we're just. Well, that's the other,
It went away.
it went away. The thing is, though, that we also have to monitor, because we're due for a full review next year, so we have to figure out what is going to be the compliance standard, because they have to come in for the state review.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's where we're kind of in a weird position, which is, it's fine, because we're ready for the review.
Right, right.
But it's just that weird position because the state there's an adjustment that we have to make.
Because
And we have to
without
make
the
sure
grain
state's-
waiver, what we were able to serve with the grain waiver is going to be standard now to all districts without having to
Yes.
apply for it.
Correct.
And then there's also a change in the milk, too. So those were the two big changes
Yes,
that
so
we
we have,
could.
that's from the federal side.
Right.
And so now the state, we have to make sure the state has to issue its guidance.
Okay.
Not that they can change it, but we have to wait for the state guidance. They're not supposed to be able to change it.
Well, we know that from the share table. They can do what they want.
So that's why we're trying to
Yep.
take it slowly, because
That's
we
what I
do
was
want to be,
asking.
we want to be in compliance with obviously the review, because that's the
Right,
most important thing.
Right. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve consideration
We have to
2.
take a vote.
Yeah, we have to take a vote.
Take a
Oh,
vote
I'm
first.
sorry. Can we have a vote, please? Roll call?
No.
No?
Just all-
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstention.
None
Motion
opposed, it
carries.
carries. Right. I make a motion to approve consideration 2 as stated below. Consideration 2, exempted for food items. The Board of Education or governing authorities will allow the sale of to the students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutritional standards, provided the following conditions are met. 1, The sale is connection and event occurring at the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. The sale is at the location of the event, and the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store.
Second.
I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
Very good. Okay, number 14, we're finished with number 13. Number 14, new business, we don't have any. And number 15, administration. Dr. Menzo, you're on.
Yes, so some of you who watched the whole taping of tonight saw me come in as we were doing the Pledge of Allegiance. The reason why is I was across the street at the Toyota Presents the Oakdale Theater for the One Book for Schools activity this evening. It was coordinated by, it was led by the 4 library media specialists at all 4 schools, but then all the teachers got involved at all of our 4-3-5 schools. Phenomenal event. They originally were shooting to have 400 people come. They now have 975 people signed up. So Oakdale has been very, very accommodating, adding staff for us. The event, I didn't want to leave because it just was absolutely amazing to see the students and their families and all the teachers engaging the students. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. So I just want to thank everyone for their involvement, our continued partnership with Oakdale, and of course all of our staff for their hard work and administrators for their support. The end of last month, the end of February, we had a resource fair at Xandria Stillwood Inn for our special education and special needs in terms of other areas of special needs that in the community. I want to thank all of our staff for their support. It was very, very well attended. And again, this is something that we had put in place that had not happened last year, so it was an opportunity to move forward. So again, great help from parents, from all the different groups that were involved. So we really are very appreciative of that. We also like to thank the Xandries for their support in this, this effort. Obviously, I cannot say enough about our student athletes over the last week. It was an incredible experience at Ingalls Rink last week. From the game itself to even, I think it all started with just the national anthem, having all the students sing the national anthem. That it was an amazing experience. The mayor and I were together the whole night. It was tough because, you can't really root for anyone. But I'm really pleased, and I want to congratulate both teams, but obviously, especially Lyman Hall that came out the winner of the game. Incredible sportsmanship on the part of the students, and that's a tribute to their coaches and the administration, their teachers, and their families. Yesterday, I was at Mohegan Sun also to see the girls' game. As was stated by our student who spoke earlier, and as I was tweeting out, it was a tough first half. They lost one of their key players, and that was tough, and I think that kind of changed the complexion of the game. And unfortunately, they were down by 13 at the half, and I think that really put them in a hole. They did dig out of it. They were actually in the lead momentarily, and then unfortunately the other team got a couple of 3-pointers and kind of put them in a tough position. I would make a recommendation to the CIAC that they need to put a shot clock in, because to be honest, it was that would have really transformed the game as well. The shot clock, not having a shot clock, you could basically ice the ball for the half and go back to the old Princeton offense from many years ago. But that really was tough, and our students, our young ladies certainly played incredible defense. So they play incredible defense for well beyond what a shot clock would be, and that's not sustainable. But I am really proud of them. Again, our students were amazing. I think our students were demonstrated a tremendous amount of sportsmanship, and in the face of even some things that I think weren't as sportsmanlike on the other side. So I think that they did a great job, and I want to thank again our staff for being there and the administrators for their presence. Outside of, and that was just basketball, we also had the swimming that was mentioned. We're going to recognize all these students in April, as well as our Invention Convention winners. That was last Tuesday. So we're going to have a lot of students at Town Hall. So we're very fortunate we're back there because we couldn't do it here. So we're really excited about that.
What date is that going to be on?
The
did you mention?
April board meeting?
Oh, the April board meeting.
April
sorry.
board meeting,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
And then outside of sports and invention convention, we also had the musical at Sheen that was mentioned, which was very well attended, exceptional job. We are waiting on our last musical, which is in May, which will be at Lyman Hall, as was mentioned, Peter Pan, which I'm sure will be a great show. A couple of other quick things. We did report out to all families. We sent out an email saying that the facilities meeting had been changed to April 1st. So that meeting will be at 6:30 at the town hall. We will start with our traditional operations meeting because we do have to go through the financials of both the board budget plus the food services budget. And then we'll conclude with the outside consultants sharing option 3, 3A, and 3B. Just to remind everybody, 3A is having the 2 high schools the way they are with the existing programs, but renovated to new. And option 3B was renovating both high schools to new, but having mirrored options, meaning that they would both have the same options at both high school. So we wanted to bring that back, and hopefully the goal of that meeting will be that you'll have taken consensus on what you would like to put forward to the town survey. We have to get to that point, and I would like to recommend that we try to get there. I think we're very close that night. Not to say that if you need more time, you can't have it, but I think we're at a point where we're very close, and we'd like to get the consultants to be able to issue the survey to the community, so then we could bring those results to the town council to determine next steps. So again, we'll send out another reminder to families prior to April 1st, so we have everybody as aware of the event as possible. April 1st also should be the day that we get the phone call from the mayor as to the budget. So we'll be sharing that, and I know in the past he's called every board member as well. So I would like to, again, just remind people that we're waiting on that. And it's never easy with this year with the state budget so in question. I don't envy the position of the mayor. We did have a very, very nice conversation with the mayor and his staff, Mr. Barone and myself, and Mr. Votto and Ms. McKay, talking about this year's budget request. And it was I thought, as it always is, but I thought, we've been together long enough. There's a tremendous amount of trust, and there was a tremendous amount of respect in our conversation, and I thought we had a very good one. So I'm hopeful that that will bode well for us, but I also know the mayor has a very difficult job to do at this point with the financial circumstances that are so unknown to all of us. Lastly, I did put in my Monday message to all of you, and I just wanted to share, and when I get more information on the date that it'll be airing, I'll share with you. But we are, Wallingford, I was called last week by CPTV, Connecticut Public Television, out of Hartford, that Wallingford is being asked to be part of a episode that they're going to be doing on career development for high school students. So we're being highlighted as the district in that episode. So they will be on site in our district on April 4th, meeting with teachers, meeting with students, meeting with economic development, meeting with a local company that has been helpful with us in providing resources and opportunities for our students. And then on April 18th, there'll be a taping in studio where we will have some people from our district in the audience. I will be there. And again, Wallingford will be highlighted when the airing of the whole episode is put forth. So I will share that with all of you because I'd like to make sure that we get a link to that on our website, because I think it does speak to the hard work of all of our staff, our administrators. There's just a tremendous amount of work going on in this area. I was at the PD on Friday, and again, I think there's just staff is truly beginning to appreciate the support that the town is providing them, especially the Board of Education and their administrators and central office staff. So this is something to be very proud of, because this shows that what we're doing is really unique. I know there are other districts who are committed to career development, but I know that there are districts who also have had some stumbling blocks. So we're trying to be proactive. We're being very deliberate, but I think the one thing that we have going for us, which I would put up against any other school district, not only in Connecticut, but in this country, is our partnerships with our local businesses and our community partnerships with the town hall, the economic development, all of the different constituents in this town. I do not think there is another place that's comparable to us. And I think that is really what is propelling us in the direction in the best interests of our students and our staff. So again, I will keep you posted, but this is a proud moment. I know sometimes people don't necessarily, maybe they don't follow along, which I understand. There's a lot of good things going on in the community. But the fact is, this is a real special one, and Tim Ryan will be part of this conversation. I emailed him this morning. I emailed yesterday, but I boomeranged it, so everybody got it at 8:01. But the fact is that Mr. Ryan, who's our EDC person, responded right away, and he was thrilled. Wallingford also is going to be highlighted in the Fairfield Business Journal, and in specifically speaking about STEM Town and the collaboration between town and education, which is unprecedented, at least in the state of Connecticut, if not nationally, to the extent that we are. So it is beginning to reap the benefits of businesses coming and looking at Wallingford, which that was one of the intentions, besides the fact that we're providing high-quality educational opportunities for our students. We have also, as I shared with the board, we did have a great meeting. Ms. Latour was part of it, and as well as Mr. Covey, with Goodwin Community College. Goodwin is in Hartford, and they've been working with a variety of school districts in central Connecticut to look at a potential opportunity to expand services to students. And Wallingford had a site visit, and the best compliment, no matter what happens, is that they were so pleased that they had visited many, many high schools. I think we're the last one they're visiting, and it was the only high school that they saw students actively working in CTE classes with the equipment, cutting wood, coding, working with robots, doing what students should be doing in those classes. And I shared that with our staff because that is truly what we want. This is supposed to be experiential learning, and it was happening. We treated them to lunch at the cook's table, and they were wowed, as always is the case when you eat at the cook's table. And we had a wonderful lunch. It was such a great conversation. So we have a proposal to them that I will share with all of you. It's a 3-year proposal for a collaboration with Goodwin College in the area of medical careers and advanced manufacturing. To continue our work in that area for our students, providing them resources, providing our staff professional development, potentially summer programming, vacation programming, that will take it to the next level in this area. So again, I know sometimes people might not know what we're doing or maybe don't necessarily get all the information, but we certainly haven't fallen asleep at the wheel when it comes to career development and really helping our students in the area of STEM move forward. Our classes, just so you know, CTE classes, and I think this is something also that's important for people to know, we have all levels of students in our CTE classes. So I know sometimes there might be a mindset that it's a certain type of student who's in CTE, but we have students in all academic levels, all backgrounds, and all experiences. And I think that's really important because the key thing that we're teaching in our CTE classes is design thinking, is the whole process of identifying a problem, ideating solutions, and coming up with solutions. So that process work is so important because it transfers into other experiences at the college level. And it transfers very, very well into engineering, very, very well into anything dealing with the STEM industries and STEM fields. So again, I think we're positioning ourselves well as a district. We're very, very fortunate. I was pleased to get notification that also I've been appointed to the committee, Senator Murphy's committee on aerospace and advanced manufacturing. So I'm the educational representative on that committee, which I will leverage, as you all know, that responsibility to the greatest extent for the students in Wallingford. And so we're looking forward to see where that goes at this point. But a lot going on, and again, it's a tribute to all the hard work of our staff, your support as a Board of Education, and truly, I cannot say enough, the unique partnership that we have with the town and local businesses. That is just not happening elsewhere. And I just don't know if it's necessarily explained enough, and maybe as we get a little bit more notoriety, I think we're ready for the notoriety. I don't know if we were a year ago or 6 months ago or even 3 months ago, and it's not notoriety to brag or about ego. It's about the fact that we're doing what's right for students, and our staff is working so hard. They deserve the respect and the accolades for what they're doing in their classrooms. So I just wanted to share all that. I know it's a lot, but I
Dr.
had to
Menzel,
get
what
out
was
there.
the group that you said observed the CT classrooms?
Goodwin Community College.
It was Goodwin.
They're the college. They're expanding. They actually are developing a whole advanced manufacturing center. My thing is that they said, oh, well, you could bring your kids up here anytime. We won't charge. That's great, but our students want to learn in their schools. And to have to get up there, we were talking at lunch that to have students go to Goodwin Community College, you potentially have to adjust their schedule. They might have to miss other classes. They might have to forfeit going to after-school activities or might not take a class if that's where they have to go. So what we're trying to do is really embed it within our curriculum, but with our present staff. That's why we have the partnership with AARP. We received $1,000 from AARP as a grant to help pay for retirees to come in and mentor our present staff members in authentic aspects of advanced manufacturing. It's the only program in the country that is going on like this, and that is a fact. AARP has not done this program anywhere else. We established it here, and they're moving it forward. So we're really trying to grow our staff because our staff is incredible, but they could never have the experiences as practitioners that are in the field. It's just not realistic. It's not their fault. That's just not their role.
And what was the committee you got appointed to? With
It's
Senator Murphy?
Senator Murphy's Aerospace and Advanced Manufacturing. I don't mean to go on about that, but I think it's important. I know I'm not trying to brag, but I think it is important that it is known that that's happening, because I think that's another factor in us helping us potentially with some grants and some other opportunities for the district. So it's not about anything other than the fact that we're going to leverage that.
Very good. And if I could just, do you have a question?
No, I have a comment.
Okay.
I'd just like to expound on Doctor's comments about the hockey game. I was at the edge of the ice when the officials came off at the end of the game after the awards, and 2 CIAC officials came to me because they knew me, and they said, we just want to compliment your school system. They have never seen a handshake line go the way this went. The students stopped, they talked to each other, they patted each other on the back, they hugged each other. They had to wait the awards ceremony till that line got through, and they both said that was the most impressive thing they've seen in years. So congratulations to our students.
And if I could, as an aside, as you may or may not know, a lot of our children are involved in they're not school-sponsored programs like the Wallingford Hawks. I'm sure you've all heard of them. And I just want to give a shout out. There are many Wallingford children that are involved in this organization. And the Pee Wee group, I'm not too sure of all the words and tiers, I think it's tier 3. They won 4 tournaments, and over the weekend they won the New England Regional Championship. The first time a Connecticut team has ever done that. We're talking about kids, I believe, are in like 6th, 7th grade. And there are a lot of Wallingford students involved in that. And similar to what Ray just said, our kids are complimented all the time about how well behaved they are, how respectful they are to the other teams, even if they did lose something. It was just a great, not only to see the games, but to see those kids grow and to be sportsmen, have good sportsmanship. But I just thought I'd give them a shout out. They did a great job. Having said that, any other comments about that? Okay. Announcements. Monday, April 1st is our Special Operations Committee meeting at 6:30 in Town Council chambers, and it's there because the facility study will be again presented. On Monday, April 8th at 6 is a Town Council public budget meeting. Now that's the one where the public gets to ask questions of the board. And then on Thursday, April 25th, the Town Council, the budget is presented to the Town Council by the board. And that's at 6:30 in the Bob Parisi Chambers at Town Hall. And our next regular board meeting is on Monday, April 22nd, in the Town Council Chambers at 6:30. And that's it. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.